Hi, this is Michelle from the Happy Mind, Happy Life podcast, and I am extremely grateful to have been working with Kim. When we started working together, I knew I wanted to grow my audience, but I wasn't sure how, and I didn't realize how much impact small strategic tweaks could really make. And Kim helped me refine my messaging just by adjusting like my titles and descriptions and make subtle shifts that literally improved my visibility to the point where I have tripled my listeners over the course of just a couple months. And nothing felt overwhelming. Nothing felt forced. It all just aligned with my brand and what it is that I wanted to put out there. And yeah, I'm so thankful for her guidance and the momentum that we've created together.
Today marks a milestone for this podcast, and I am super excited because this is something I've been thinking about for a little bit of time, and I really wanted to bring it to you, but didn't know exactly where to fit it in. So last summer, when I launched Podcasting for Spiritual Women on June 19th, I released 2 episodes a week. And I did that to kind of jumpstart myself and get myself started. So I wanted to continue that this year and offer 2 episodes a week for the summertime. But I wanted to give you something other than just the regular content that I bring and something a little bit more specific. So today, what I'm kicking off is what I'm calling a summer series on podcast basics. So this is going to be episodes that are going to cover things like such as today's, which is the hardware of your podcasting journey, and then maybe the software, your editing software, where you're going to be hosting all sorts of different pieces. And I'm going to be bringing you a new episode every Friday on the podcasting basics. These are things that I have tried or things that I love and things that I always recommend to people. There may be a few things that maybe I've tried and I don't love, and I'll tell you those too as I go along. But today we're going to kick it off with hardware, and that hardware is going to be the basics that you might need to purchase for your podcast. First one I'm going to start with, your microphone. That is, I think, probably the most essential piece of any podcaster's journey. Yes, you could podcast on your phone. I have had clients do that before, and there's nothing wrong with it if that's where you need to get started. But once you've got a little bit of maybe money in the bank or you want to move on to the next stage, then a microphone is the best thing for you to pick up first. In this particular case, my microphone is actually 6 years old, and I will tell you, I absolutely adore it, but it is discontinued. But it is made by one of my favorite companies, and that is Audio Technica. Audio Technica is a company that does all sorts of different types of microphones and different price points. But the ones today I'm going to recommend are ones that clients have picked up, and they do sound good. They sound just as good as this one, if not maybe a little bit better. And all of the microphones that I'm recommending are all USB, which means they are plug and play into your laptop or into your desktop, and you just start talking away. Now, there are a lot of other features to different microphones. These ones here, typically, I don't really talk too much about things like gain or, different types of features that the microphones will have. If you are on top of your microphone, like I usually am, then you don't really have to worry too much about the gain for your microphone. If your microphone's further away, you might need to increase that. And if you're wondering, what the heck is that? That's usually the only dial, other than maybe volume, on your microphone. And realistically, I think volume and gain probably on most microphones are similar or the same button. So you can take a look at that. So if I have the Audio Technica ATR 2100X and it is no longer made, what do I recommend now? Well, that is the AT 2020 USB. Now, this is also a very good microphone that I've recommended to clients, and it's approximately, as of today, about $185 on Amazon. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more cost effective, Audio Technica also makes the AT2005 USB, and that one is about $79 as of this morning on Amazon. So if you're looking for an upgrade and you're looking for what I use, that's it, the ATR 2100X, but they don't make it. So the Audio Technica AT2020 or the Audio Technica AT2005. Again, USB, plugs right in, absolutely loves it. All right, next one. What is the next thing that you might need? If you have a microphone and you're anything like me and you use your hands at all when you're talking, then you might be interested in a boom arm. Now, a boom arm typically connects right directly to your desk, and then the microphone sits inside of it somehow. Now, depending on what microphone you buy, one, it could have come with a tripod, and that's okay if you don't mind that it's right in front of you on a tripod. Now, I do a lot of typing, so I don't like it to be in that space whatsoever. I would definitely tip that over. So in this particular case, I always get a boom arm, and my boom arm, I actually have a couple of them, by the way, just in case one breaks. I don't know why it would break, but I do also love the fact that I can take my boom arm and swing it away from me. So it's not always, the microphone's not always in my face. I love that. But the boom arm that you're going to need needs to go with the type of microphone. So definitely when you're looking at that, see if you could do any kind of looking around to see what kind of boom arm would be the best fit for your microphone. Some will screw in to the boom arm and some will just slide in to like a sound dampener type thing. That's not actually what it's called, but it kind of like makes it so that it's done in elastics, and so it will be a shock absorber. That's the word. It's a little bit of a sound shock absorber. Okay. Also, with your boom arm, you usually can also purchase windshields and a pop filter. Those usually come all as a package deal. If they don't, maybe you might want to look at that. You might want to look to see if they have a windshield. My windshield is this big black bulbous thing around the actual head of the microphone. And that just really helps with any kind of harsh noises, my breath noises, things like that. And it also protects the microphone itself from any moisture or condensation from your mouth as you talk. Now, the other one is a pop filter. I do on occasion use the pop filter for things such as when I'm having a summit or I'm doing a audiobook or something similar to that. I don't always use it for my podcast episode specifically, but I do use it if it needs to be a little bit more polished. The audio needs to be, because it will start to remove a little bit more of the what we call ploofs. And that would be kind of like that harsh P sound or the harsh S sound, that type thing. Nowadays, people don't care so much about that in editing, but I do sometimes like to have it a little bit more polished and will occasionally use my pop filter. My pop filter just attaches right to my boom arm, and so I have it all in one. And again, my boom arm is attached to my desk and I can just swing it back and forth so that I know where everything is. And it's just right there whenever I need it. All right. Now, after the boom arm and the windshield, the pop filter, what would be next? Well, I'm also going to mention headphones. Okay. I absolutely need to express the fact that, especially if you're doing any type of interviews, I highly recommend that you have a set of headphones on. This is going to stop the reverb from happening. That reverb is that sound or echo. And that's going to be just like you can hear that person again. And that's because your microphone is picking up on the sound coming out of your laptop or out of your speakers, wherever those may be. And it's not filtering that. But if those sounds are coming directly into your ears in the headphones, there's not going to be any overlap there. So what kind of headphones do I like? Well, again, the ones that I have, they no longer make, but I bought a bunch of them. So I still have a bunch of them. So I love these ones from MPOW, that's MPOW, and that is the 059. So that's the number of them. They are amazing. They come in different colors. I absolutely love them. And they last for like 30, 40 hours on one charge. And they are Bluetooth and zero latency when you do any kind of editing. And that is really hard to come by. They're not hooked into my laptop at all when I do it, and zero latency. It's amazing. Now, I also have a set, and they just happen to be the ones that I'm wearing today, which are the Soundcore by Anker. These are the Q20s, and they do come in some fun colors as well. They are still available, and you can get them on Amazon for about $45. Now, MPOW does have some other ones, and let me also tell you, they're not available on Amazon, the MPOWs. I did initially buy mine on Amazon, but now I just have to go right directly to the company. They have replaced the 059 model with the H19 model. Now, still sounds the same, sounds similar, still has a really long time for the charge. I think it's 30 hours, maybe not as long as the originals, but they are going to be running you about $50 if you want a pair of those. And the website for them is xmpow.com, because again, you can't get them on Amazon. Everything else so far, you've been able to get the Audio Technica, the Boom Arm, the Soundcore headphones. They can all be done on Amazon. So, but if you're not an Amazon lover, they do still all have their own websites. So you can go look. Audio Technica website is gorgeous. If you've ever been, or if you haven't, I highly recommend you go. They have some just beautiful imagery on there, and just some beautiful like setups and things like that to look at. So yeah, go ahead. Go look at that. All right. So that would be your headphones. Can you use your AirPods? Yeah. And sometimes for editing, I do. Sometimes for interviews, I do. So it doesn't have to be these particular ones. These ones that I'm using, the MPOWs and the Soundcore, are noise canceling. Now, I will say the MPOWs are less noise canceling than the Soundcore. The Soundcore ones, which is the ones that I'm wearing today, I've actually been scared by my husband from walking in the room because I've been busy editing and he's been behind me. Open the door. The dogs have come in. I didn't even hear any of that, and they've just scared me. So just so you know, they are really noise canceling. They're really good quality. You probably could also use some really other higher quality ones, but these ones here are just the run-of-the-mill ones that I like to use on a daily basis. I know my husband's got a pair of Apple headphones he adores, and he uses them when he does records his music, which is absolutely fine. But I'm happy with the ones that I have, because you know what? If I sit on them, then I'm out $50, not $500. All right. So other than the headphones, the next step that I would offer that you could expand on for your podcasting journey, the next one, acoustic panels. I know that's just like a weird thing to say. Now, you could get around acoustic panels by having a lot of soft things in your recording space. So for instance, if you've ever seen me, I have a blanket on the back of my chair. I have a carpet on the ground. I have curtains on my windows. I have this really nice big fluffy chair over on my right side. And then I also do have attached to my walls acoustic panels. Now, I did get these acoustic panels from Amazon, and I also got the Art acoustic panels, because they do make them. I don't know if you've ever seen those gamers, and they have the big black and red, like puffy, like spiky looking foam things behind them. I've seen them a couple times on different YouTube channels and things like that. Yes, you could get those, but yes, they're also ugly. So if that's your vibe, go for it. But if it's not your vibe, they do make some really beautiful acoustic panels. The ones that I have this light blue, white, and then they have these like swirls in black and gold, and just really beautiful, beautiful pieces. They come in like sheets that you attach to the wall. And what I've done is I have two here in front of me. Then I do also have a cork board, which also will absorb, because cork is going to absorb a whole lot better than, say, like a mirror or a whiteboard or something like that. So the cork board works perfect. Then I do have one of those fluffy, the spiky acoustic panels over here next to the window, because I do have a window here, but I need something to absorb the sound over here. And then I do have some behind me. I have some more acoustic panels over there. They come, I think, as like a 8-pack. And so you can just kind of mix and match them as you want around the space that you have. I have mentioned to people before that if they're in an area and there's a lot of echo, if you're hearing a lot of echo, you can put like a blanket or a towel around where you are. You can do that. But if you have a few things that are sound absorbing, spot on. That's perfect. So acoustic panels. Now, what else? Again, these are all extras, but these are things I've accumulated over time. I live in New England, so right now is not a big time for this particular product, but in the winter, I need to use this product, and that is lights. So I have a couple of different choices for lights. I have a ring light, which I actually am not as big of a fan of because I wear glasses and I can always see the ring in my light. So, or the ring light in my glasses. So I sometimes will defer not to use that. But then I also have these video lights with stands. They're about $45. It came as a 2-pack. They can be really short or they can be really tall. I think it goes up to like 68 inches high. And they have several different, just like a ring light, by the way, they have several different features where you can just kind of flick through whether or not you want natural light, blue light, or warm light. And depending, I just kind of scroll through until I find the one that I'm like, yeah, I like that today. Because at different times of the day, you just never know which one you're going to want. So I always go with some type of a light when I am recording video. And that's, again, this is video part. You don't really need that for audio podcasting at all. But video podcasting, you might want to have a light of some kind. You might even want it for your Zoom calls, for your networking meetings and things like that too, depending on how dark it is in your neck of the woods during different seasons. Now, I think the last thing that I'm going to mention is, again, very specific to video podcasting, and that's only if you want to do video, and that is your webcam. Now, if your laptop has a web camera inside of it, chances are pretty good it's not ideal for webcam video. So my suggestion here is just to go pick up something. It can be really cheap, really inexpensive. I actually picked up mine from a sale that a high school was doing to get rid of old high school equipment. I know it's crazy, right? But that's what I'm talking into. And realistically, I took a look. It only says general webcam on it. It does not have any kind of like brand name or anything. My computer, I plugged it in. My computer was like, okay, it's a webcam. It's a better quality than me. Yeah, you can use it, but we're just going to call it general. Yep, that's what it's called. Now, I was able to I did pick up one at one time, and that does say it's an eMeet Smart Cam. I don't know. I have the box. I have the webcam inside of it, but apparently I've never plugged it in because it's still in there and it has a little bit of dust on it. But bottom line here is you get something, even if it's relatively inexpensive, get something that is a little bit of a higher quality than it is within your laptop, which most standalones are going to be. Anything that is going to be able to be plugged in, USB plugged in to your laptop or your desktop is going to be a better quality than what came with your laptop or your monitor, because they just don't always have really good, they're doing multiple things. And so it's hard to put something really high quality in there. So that would be my suggestion for webcam if you wanted to go ahead and just expand that. All right. I think those are the basics of the hardware that you might need. So that's microphone, headphones, acoustic panels, camera and lighting, depending on what it is. You do not have to start with any of them. Well, all right, I'm gonna stand on the hill that you need to start with your microphone and some headphones. But I do think that you could get started with your iPhone if you had to, and then start to upgrade as you go along. it's just going to be better experience overall for your listener. And it's going to be better experience for you too in the long run. It's going to just make you feel more like a podcaster to have some more additional pieces here. So yeah, first and foremost, get that microphone and then the headphones and then go from there on all the rest of it. I did not start off with my Audio Technica and a boom arm. I started off actually with a Fifine, I think is what it was called. They still make them, by the way. And it was just on a tripod and it just sat on my desk. Did I love the sound? No, I hated the sound. That's why I upgraded pretty quickly. But it was what I could afford and what I wanted to get started with because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So that was replaced by this amazing one pretty darn quickly. But if that's what you can afford and that's where you can be, that should not deter you from continuing your podcast journey. You just go with what you have and move forward with that. So those are some of the podcasting basics for right now on the hardware. And come back next Friday. And I think what we're going to be talking about, actually, I have a lot of different ideas on what to talk about. So if there is something in particular you would like to know more about as far as software or editing or any of that, please reach out to me, Kim@kpcreativemedia.com. Let me know what it is that you would like me to explore during the series. I do have most of the series kind of outlined out, but you know what? There could be one or two things I could add in if you guys are looking for them. So until next week, my regularly scheduled episode will be dropping on Tuesday, and I will be back with the podcasting basics next Friday. Until then, where your voice flows, your business grows, and can't wait to see you then. See you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me today. If you're ready to deepen your visibility and grow your podcast in a way that feels aligned, come join my email list at kpcreativemedia.com/newsletter, where I share exclusive guidance, support, and next steps. And if this episode resonated, I'd be so honored if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the most powerful ways to support the show and help other spiritual women discover it. Until next time, keep showing up and sharing your voice.